Hi everyone, Mittierim here with another Mittierim Responds video. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, and so I figured I'd get back to it and also take the advantage of the time to show off some of my more recent paint jobs on my new Undersea Dread Elves army. So this question actually is a response to a video done by the Orange Road. For those of you who don't know him, he is Blonde Beer on the Ninth Age forums. He's the head of PR, so he did this video up to kind of get the community talking. And his question was basically put into a hypothetical situation of, what if you were at an event and came across one of the folks with true power in the Ninth Age? What would you tell them needs to change? In the hopes that maybe they would pay attention and make that change. Now, I will say I am kind of cheating on this one, as the question was certainly framed more from the point of view of what rules-wise would change, and that's not really the way I'm going to take it, because for those of you who have watched my channel for any length of time, you know I'm not really the rules guy. So I'm taking it mainly about the what would you change about the Ninth Age in general. And my big answer to this is a lot of the way that the fluff in the background is done. Now that is a broad idea, but I'll talk a little bit about what I mean as we go on. So first of all, the background work has been very solid. So I'm not doing this in terms of complaining about what has been done. More thinking that a different approach would be better in the long term. For those who haven't really read into the fluff, and there's not all that much of it that's out right now. I'm drawing mainly from the main rule book, the Sylvan Elf book that's out, and the Undying Dynasties book that's out. But I'm also drawing a lot from what we hear from the background team about their aims and their goals. And one of the big things that they seem to want to stress is the idea of everything being written from sort of an untrustworthy narrator point of view, which is certainly an interesting way to do it. However, I don't feel that it is necessarily the best to present a game world in that manner. And I would actually stress changing that. The reason I think that it would be best to go with something different is that I think untrustworthy narrators work much better in a story or a game world where you're only really expected to experience that from one point of view. What I mean by that, for instance, both of the books that have come out, the Sylvan Elf book and the Undying Dynasties book, neither of those are written from the point of view of the member of the army that they represent. The Undying Dynasties is, I believe it's a person from Empire of Sonstal, and the Wood Elves is written from the point of view of a person from the Kingdom of Aquitaine. These would be great because they do fill a lot of flavor, but the flavor is not that of the army that the book is about. We don't really learn a lot about those particular armies, in my opinion. What we learn more about is the people who are writing them. We learn about judgments and the prejudices basically of those groups, which is fine if we were to be expected to only experience the world by playing one of those two armies. We kind of for those of us who want to build stories around it, it gives a lot of ideas how those people react to the rest of the world, but there's not a lot of solid information that we get about the two armies in question. That is a fundamental bedrock to build stories from. I would much rather have the stories written from the point of view of, say, the Sylvan Elves or the Undying Dynasties, and put in if you're going to do an untrustworthy narrator, you build it from that point. You give more, because I mean, there are certain solid things that somebody who's expected to kind of get into the character of the Sylvan Elves would want to know is actually true about their army, and not necessarily the representation of an entirely different society that, as is written, knows very, very little about the way the society works. As such, a lot of the information is very vague. Now, in all fairness, it is understood that the group or the background team is kind of going for a certain amount of vagueness. They don't feel like they want to write anyone into a corner, so that if you had a particular way of writing or creating a story around your army, they don't want to preclude that. And I can certainly understand that. And that's a laudable goal. However, I think it also runs the risk of making the writings more bland. The more vague you are, the less opportunities you have to do something unique and interesting. And that's really kind of what I've been struck by most of the background that I've seen so far. I've really wanted to like it, but it doesn't really feel like it has a unique voice. And so for me, I could be playing any number of games and have this be appropriate, which may be what they're aiming for, but it's not really what I'm looking for. If I want kind of a standard Tolkien-esque thing, I'll play Dungeons and Dragons or something different. I want a unique voice to come from the Ninth Age project. Many people might be complaining that I'm judging things too soon, or they haven't gotten anything out, or not enough out, that sort of thing. But that actually brings me to my second complaint. It has been, in my opinion, way too long for the fluff not to be out already. And I mean out in a significant amount. We've gotten a bare little taste of it, and that's about it. And I understand there's few people working there, and they're on tight time constraints. I get that. But what I've been hearing, particularly lately as I peruse the forums and I lurk in different things, fluff and lore is being brought up as a reason behind why a lot of the mechanical choices are being made. One of the big ones that kind of struck me with this idea lately was the discussion about the magic schools, and why in particular Sylvan Elf witchcraft. And the big argument is it doesn't line up with the fluff, which would be a great answer if we as the community had access to all that already, and could understand what it is that they're aiming for. And obviously it exists because they're basing these decisions on it. But to not have that released really turns those kind of it's a fluff thing into non-answers, and I think ultimately inspires a lot of annoyance, if not outright anger, from the community. So not, and I don't want to come down on the background team, because like I said, what they've done so far has been fine. And I think it's a good start. But I think if so much is going to be based on the background and the fluff, which it absolutely should be, I am 100% on board with that. It needs to get done first and get out there. If the executive board expects us to accept it's a fluff thing as an answer, then we have to have something in our hands to understand that and to kind of hold them accountable to what they're setting. As it is, it sounds a little more than arbitrary when they make these decisions to just kind of hide behind the it's the fluff thing when we don't know what that is. Um, Overall, that would be my big recommendations in terms of the fluff is give us some essentially change the point of views so that we do have some solid information. Not everything has to be a mystery. While I agree that mysteries are necessary and there needs to be blank space on the map as it were, um, we need some solid understandings of each individual army. Um, Now, I think that if they want to, the individual army books is a perfect place for that. If you want to use the main book as kind of vagaries and bring in the misunderstandings, you can certainly do that. But you need, if you're going to build a story and a campaign or what have you around your particular army, and you want that fluff and you want that knowledge to build off of, I want to know what my army is, not what this other army that I don't play thinks my army is. Um, and two, we need to get the fluff up front. I would certainly be pushing that as a major, major thing. Um, because I think you're going to get a lot of folks attached that way, a lot of new players. There's that opportunity to kind of grab the imaginations of people out there and bring them into the game that way. On top of it, I think it's a better opportunity to, I don't, this is going to sound a little harsh, but to prove to the community that you know what you're doing and that it's not just arbitrarily making rules for rules' sakes and then stapling background over it, which I think is ultimately a mistake in design for what they're trying to do. And also, I don't think, given what has been said by the folks on the forums, that that's the way they want to do it. They want to build from this IP protected, unique fluff, um, but really that's got to be priority one. So that's just my take on it. Again, I thought this was kind of an interesting topic, and I figured my point of view would not necessarily be one that a lot of other people would take up, so I figured I would do this as a video and share with you guys my general thoughts. Thanks again to the Orange Road for starting this up. I'm going to put a link to his original video in the comments here. So if you want to do your own video response to it, that would be awesome. Or we can chat about what you think in the comments below. That would be great too. Idea is to just get more people talking. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, comments down below, like if you like it, and subscribe if you feel. Otherwise, we will catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.